Hey everybody, Dragon Movie Guy here. Thank you for tuning in. This is the movie news you can use for June 9th, 2023 on the Dragon Movie Guy podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We talk about movie news that you can use. It kind of sort of rhymes. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it's where we're at right now. If you have any other ideas for different names for this segment, put it in the comments section down below the video, and let me know if you don't like movie news you can use, or if you do like it, let me know that as well. Joining me today is a new content creator to the channel, a new movie reviewer from the YouTube space. She has grown her channel, StruggleReviewzTV, to almost 20,000 subscribers. I am jealous. Calm down, Brian. So please welcome to the Movie News You Can Use episode of Dragon Movie Guy podcast, Tyra from StruggleReviewzTV. Tyra, welcome to Dragon Movie Guy.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I like movie news you can use.
Thank you. Yeah, I figured, well, it kind of rhymes. It's sort of like one for the thumb. It rhymes-ish. So your channel name is StruggleReviewzTV. Tell me a little bit about StruggleReviewzTV.
Oh man, then it's in the name. Like it's been a struggle. Struggle Reviews TV is like a whole passion of mine. I never thought I would be so devoted to growing a YouTube channel or just talking about movies. It was supposed to be like a little one-off hobby, and then I got really passionate about it. But in the process of that passion, I was struggling really, really hard. So I was like, I'm gonna name the channel Struggle. So the expectations when people click, they won't be as high because like I'm a struggling YouTuber because I was very self-conscious about seeing myself on camera, hearing my voice back. I was like, oh my God, it's annoying. Who's gonna want to listen to me? So I just Struggle Reviews TV was the name, and you try to pick something that'll stand out. But it's been really great growing the channel and getting a paywall up for the channel for most of my content. I do specifically throwback content now. I do a little bit of everything as far as maybe contemporary television shows and movies, but my bread and butter is throwback movies, and for the price of $40 to $45, depending on how long the film is, I can talk about any movie from any decade. Now, that don't mean roll up and pay for the Passion of the Christ or something. Don't buy that. But majority of the time, my subs really buy some awesome things and I talk about them, and it's helped me grow the channel as well as really have this really strong bond with my subs because they really like if a video performs, they're like, yeah, I paid for this. This is my video. Yeah. So it's really great. And like I couldn't be more happy with my 20,000 subs in the making. We are maybe, I think, about 400 subs away.
Fingers crossed, almost there. Tell me, how did the tip jar, if you will, the virtual tip jar for picking the movie jukebox, if you will, of selecting of your viewers selecting the movies for you to view?
It started off with just one subscriber wanting me to talk about Do the Right Thing. And he suggests, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna it was just, you finally like you're growing your content. I don't even think I had 1,000 subs yet. And it was just like just somebody who supported me so heavily. It's like I love these because I had no intentions of talking about anything as far as a throwback older nostalgic film. And he's like, can you just talk about this? And I'm gonna cash app. I was like, yeah, this is one of my, great supporters. I'm gonna, talk about it regardless, because he supports me so heavily. And once, I figured it out and I was like, oh, this kind of the video didn't really perform, but I felt good about it because so often with the movies that come out now, they're not good and you don't like talking about them. And I was getting a little distraught getting, into making content. And it seemed like every new release, I was, not having the best experience. I kept talking about what I didn't like about the film. Whereas it could be, taxing with something nostalgic. Even if you didn't like it, there's some nostalgia there that makes you love it. And it was a difference in me going back now in, my mid 30s to look at a movie versus when I watched it when I was probably like 14 or something. So you get a whole different perspective, and it just started to kind of blossom from there. And I was like, okay, if this is working for me and I want to really do this, let me start letting my subs vote before I ask anybody to, oh, there's a paywall. Like we did not start at a paywall. I just had like a little voting thing happening in my community tab, and I would pick maybe 2 to 3 videos like, hey, so Tales from the Crypt theme, Bodilla of Blood, or Demon Knight, vote for one or something like that. And it'd be like, oh, we're gonna vote for this. And they got so into it that I didn't have to say anything. People just volunteered where, oh man, well, I wanted you to talk about this one. Like, I'm going to send this. And then it just kind of built from there. And all of a sudden we had a paywall. And every month I can rely on, oh gosh, at least about 15 to 20, sometimes 25 movies to be purchased. I'm just trying to keep up.
So you're actually like you're outstripping your capacity to make videos at this point. It sounds like.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, at first it was, it was very but by the time like now I've actually put a halt on things because they were just going. I'm like, you guys, the window for purchasing movies is closed. Give me a little time to catch up. And because I don't like to have anybody waiting for content too long. If you pay for something, you normally want it right away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's taxing also, but I love it because sometimes some people pay for some things and I'm like, why would you pay for that? Why would you pay for that? You want me to talk about this? And then sometimes they pay for some really awesome things, but I love it because I'm never really stifled. They pay for so much variety that I could be talking about. Let me think. I have Booty Call came up, and then I have the Blues Brothers coming up, and then
Nice.
Apocalypto is coming up, and then you get something like House Party. Like it's just very, very open, and I like it.
That's cool that you have that many different films to choose from. Like, I'll
Yeah.
try this one and kind of keep the playlist up a little bit here. Let's jump into the headlines of the movie news you can use. And let's talk about what's been going on with movies the last week, shall we? Sweet. So, first up, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Took home $120 million in the U.S. alone. Have you seen this Spider-Man movie yet? And
yes, I have.
what did you think of this movie?
It's not my favorite one, but it's a really good one. Like I was really the Spider-Man franchise is the one franchise within the Marvel universe that I can still depend on. It's the one that I can still say, you know what? I know that I'm going in, I'm gonna get a good film. It'll have decent writing, acting. The story will be cohesive because I like have a strong relationship with Marvel and what they've been doing. Like it really upsets me. So like if you haven't noticed, like I don't have one Marvel movie on the channel because I just have no desire to discuss them. The only one I have is the Black Panther film. Other than that, I have not touched on one Marvel film because they can be so disappointing and just the blockbuster big money thing, and they're not really putting any writing into the metaverse and all those, because Marvel and those movies, they used to be so good. Like phase one, awesome.
Yeah.
And then we got lost. So I don't really, but I thought it was really good, and I'm not surprised at all by the box office. Not one bit.
Yeah, 120 million. And there's something about Spider-Man that's just any iteration. I mean, there's Peter Parker, and now we've got Miles Morales. Like, what do you think about Miles Morales and the voice actor behind it?
I love it. I got my Wu-Tang shirt on today. The voice actor, he's a lead actor. Well, the series just ended recently on the show. And I think I did a review for Dope. He's the lead there. I think his name is Shamik Moore.
Shamik Moore, yeah, that was it.
Yes, he does really, really well with the voice acting, and he has a lot of charisma. It really gets you interested in the character. It just blends so well, and not even just because the style of animation is different, but the writing for the animation is really good for it to be an animation, because sometimes they just throw it away and say, oh, this is for kids, we don't have to really try as hard. But the way they tie in everything, I think it's really good, and I think the lead actor does a wonderful job.
When I first saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I thought he was a teenager.
Yeah.
And then you see him, he's a full-grown man. And I'm like, wow, like I had no idea like he could do a teen voice that well.
Yeah.
And then I had the good fortune to go to CinemaCon a month and a half ago, and they brought out Shamik Moore and Haley Steinfeld,
Hmm.
and showed like 15 minutes of the movie. They showed the scene where they were on the rooftop
Yeah.
at the barbecue for the dad promotion, and they were still working on the animation for it. But yeah, it was great film. I thought it was a little too long for my
Yeah.
personal taste, but because it was 30 minutes longer than the first film.
They always do that. I guess they try to
Yeah.
milk it a little bit like, well, every single franchise they add on. If it was good, like the first one's decent, they managed to add on an extra 20 minutes of padding. Like, I guess trying to do a little fan service. I don't know what they're doing, but they can keep it. All the movies that have came out have been too long, in my opinion.
Well, and I'm someone that I like the 4 hour and 15-minute version of Dances with Wolves, which is
Mm.
like watching paint dry, I think, to most people. But I actually like that. I was actually like nodding off a little bit. The
Mm.
Spider-Man was, if anything, it was too visual because I was like, it was almost like it was like hypnotizing me.
Yeah.
Oh, wake it up halfway through. Like they said that they're still swinging through, and I'm like, oh, still swinging through the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
We had Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse raking in $120 million. We had The Little Mermaid in week 2 pulling in $41 million. We had The Boogeyman, the horror film, pulling in at third place at $12 million. Guardians of the Galaxy, $10.6 million. And Fast X dropping off quickly at $9.5 million.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
They ruined it. They ruined it.
Does any of that surprise you? Like, have you seen most of the films on that top 5 list? Or
I meant to check out Boogeyman, even though I know it's probably trash because all the movies I've ever seen that were named Boogeyman were not good features. But I love horror and I wanted to check it out. But I I always go for I rush to see things like Renfield. I flock to the movies to go see that and see Nicolas Cage be Nicolas Cage, but a lot of the things I just don't really rush to see them. But I haven't seen Boogeyman. I've seen The Little Mermaid. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed. It was not perfect by far, but I was really surprised at because I have no faith in live action Disney whatsoever. My expectations were very low, so I was surprised that I enjoyed the film at all and some of the changes that they did to the movie. So that was a really big surprise there. Um, let's see. In the last one, Guardians of the Galaxy. I love Guardian. Like not this movie in particular, but just the franchise. It was probably like one of my favorites. I like some of the things they did with Rocket, but the tone of the movie was really off for me. Like it was really serious in some ways. It has like the best villain to me that we've seen in a minute. Um, and then we get like it's a little offbeat. It'll be really serious and then it's comical. And sometimes it works, but I think they beeline some of the main characters that we have invested time in for, other storylines. And this is like this is the last Guardian of the Galaxy we're gonna get, right?
with James Gunn, at least, because he's
Yeah.
taken over
Yeah.
the
I thought
DC.
yeah, I was hoping the send off would be a little better. It's hard because the bar is really low for Marvel. So to say like, oh, it's really good, for Marvel, that's not really giving the movie any real credit.
Yeah, Phase 4 and now into Phase 5. I'm sticking by my man Kevin Feige. I still love Kevin Feige. I still like the MCU, but it's not perfect every time out anymore. Like, yeah, you're right. Phase 1, Phase 2 was good. Phase 3, Endgame, love Spider-Man, No Way Home, all those. And then we get Thor, Love and Thunder.
Oh god.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's the weirdest thing. So it's almost like you took a Venn diagram of cutest possible animals and meanest things that a budding serial killer will do to small animals, and cross them between the two. Where the Venn diagram of those two groups crosses is how Rocket has his origin story along with his 3 or 4 other
That
friends.
was
And
crazy because I never thought like I never watched Guardians of the Galaxy like, ooh, I can't wait till we get more information on Rocket. I never thought about that. Like it's something I never knew I needed, but I didn't mind it. It was very, touching and it was nice. But the writing and a lot of other things with the movie could have been a lot better. But it's the best Marvel that we've gotten in a long time. It's not Thor:
Yeah.
Love and Thunder.
Oh God, yeah. Thor. So many things wrong with Thor: Love and Thunder. Moving on from Thor: Love and Thunder, uh, let's go on to the projections for this upcoming weekend. Transformers 7, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. There aren't any really good box office projections for this upcoming weekend. I could usually those articles come out Tuesday, Wednesday. I was looking last night on Wednesday night, and the only one that I could find was actually from May. And this is one from Collider. It was projecting that Transformers 7 Rise of the Beast will make $68 million, which is, $68 million is nothing to sneeze at, but that's half of what we got last weekend from Spider-Man. So do you have any plans to watch Transformers Part 7?
Only for my son, because he loves Transformers with a passion. I'm only watching it for my son.
Did you watch Transformers when you were growing up?
The cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the cartoon. The cartoon, like the shows, awesome, like so cool. But when we get into Michael Bay, Shia LaBeouf territory, it just kind of started to dwindle with every single installment till now. Like, because I see that they have, I think, Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback, really great. It's a really good cast. So I'm like, maybe that'll pick it up because we do have some really, really it's a switch up, from what we've gotten previously, but they've given us crap for so long. It's like the anticipation for it is really low, but I will definitely be checking it out with my guy because he's been waiting on it to come out with a passion.
And this is theoretically a sequel to Bumblebee, and I was really pleasantly surprised with Bumblebee. I love the throwback G1, the fact that the Transformers aren't just morphing, they're actually like transforming and like the whole sound effect thing. So hopefully this is as good, but there's no Haley Steinfeld in this one, so at least as far as I can tell. So yeah, I love Anthony Ramos, I love Dominique Fishback, so fingers crossed that it's actually a decent film. Moving on to our third story. This is kind of a 2-for-1. The Directors Guild of America was able to come up with a deal. The writer's strike is still going on, so the WGA is still on strike. The Directors Guild of America avoided a strike, and then SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild, voted to strike, not immediately, but if the deal falls apart later this month. They have voted, it was like 99 or 97% to go on strike. So we could have the writers and the actors still on strike simultaneously, with the directors standing around having nothing to do. What's your take on the writers' strike and all these deals kind of coming up at the same time, and the perfect storm has been averted of labor stoppages, but what are your thoughts on the Directors Guild getting a deal and everyone else kind of still negotiating?
Give those people some money. Like, I really hate that because I think that was was it like 2008 the last time we had the really, really big strike happen? I hate that we'll still here and we have the writers of all people not getting paid. Like, it's crazy to just even fathom that everybody else can get paid properly and get residuals and all these different things. And then when it comes to writers, it's always, having to strike and band together to demand pay. Like, I just feel like they should be paid like everyone else. I'm glad that we are getting a little leeway with this. Because when we were getting into the AI and all these things, I was like, oh, it's over. It terrifies me. Like, there's so many advances with AI, every little business scope, because I do have a little side business, a cleaning service and different things that I do. And I've had other business owners go, oh, you don't have to do that. Just get this and that. You could just tell them what to do and then they'll write it and mock it up for you and it'll sound like a real person. I'm like, oh my God, that is terrifying. That is terrifying. But when it comes to just films that I love and what you can get from a team of writers, I just don't feel you getting that from AI. I don't care how advanced it is. Like, it's nothing like a group of people writing something or working on something collectively. And if we have to pay these people fair wages to get them in there, pay the people the money. Like it's just so much money to go around when it comes to, film and productions and Hollywood and studios. Why are we making pretty much the most important people the lowest people on the totem pole? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, and you're right. If the producers get their way, the Academy Award for Best Screenwriting will probably go to a toaster very soon, uh, which they then own and then take in all the money and go,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
won it, but it was our toaster that wrote it. But yeah, so I think there's so much money to be made, including with streaming.
Yeah.
And if anyone doubts that people are making money off streaming, just look at HBO Max / Max and how many titles, underperforming titles, were eliminated from HBO Max over the last 3, 4, or 5 months in an
Yeah.
effort to save money. And what was weird was it was a lot. Warner Brothers owns HBO. Warner
Mhm.
Brothers owns Warner Brothers. So the fact that Warner Brothers was paying for Warner Brothers movies on HBO Max and they couldn't afford to pay themselves just shows that someone is making money off this. So why not cut the writers in? Because the writers are the ones that wrote the darn thing in the first place.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed they get all this stuff figured out
I hope
soon.
so. Streaming is the new wave, unfortunately. I always like think about the future and 10, 20 years down the line, like are movie theaters and going to the movies still gonna be a thing? Like I feel like every single time I go to the movies, I see less and less people.
Yeah, it's still kind of recovering from the pandemic
Yeah.
and everything, and prices have gotten so high that
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's still kind of recovering. We're 3 in, which is where I wanted to take a little bit of a break and let you describe the next big project that you're kind of working on. What is your next big review or project or something that you're working on that'll be coming
Oh
up soon?
man. Currently I am working on Apocalypto. I had never seen Apocalypto. And I was watching it, and I was like, "Oh my god." And I was in bed with my husband, I was like, "Honey, this is so amazing. This is incredible." And I was like, "Oh my god, this is great. I can't wait to talk about it." And then the ending credits begin to roll, and I was like, "Mel Gibson? Mel Gibson? This is from Mel Gibson?" Not that I just was so surprised because I know, Mel Gibson dips his toe and, Braveheart. Most I remember was Braveheart and of course, Passion of the Christ, projects like that. Amazing, but this was totally different. And I was like, Mel Gibson? So I was very intrigued to to talk about that. I'm excited to discuss it and talk about what I thought about Mel Gibson, just his career and him as an actor and what he's been able to do. It really made me think about Hollywood now because Apocalypto is a older film at this point, but it made me think about now and how he had to void, all studios, investors, do everything on his own dime and out of his own production company just to make the film that he wanted to. And I was like, this is what we are missing. Watching the movie, I was like, this is what we're missing. Like, this is so great. I just felt like this was a movie that nobody would even think to make now. I thought it was like so trash as far as what we have now in the theaters and what we're looking forward to, and that they could take something as simple. There's a lot of dimension in the movie, but from what I read, for the most part, this was, a dual type of movie or like your Mad Max. Like this is a chase, ultimately a chase movie, and it turned into this. I'm like, this is great. We need so much more of this. And then when I got to, once I got past Mel Gibson, and I saw that this was funded by him through his production company. He didn't want any outside, influence on the film. Maybe when you got into distribution, but this was pretty much his baby and his passion project. So to know that he had to go that route to do what he needed to do, I was like, we need so much more of this. I need some more. Like it'll be sad to say like we need some more Mel Gibsons. Like we need more people to as problematic as he has been. He's great mind, great writing, and I'm going to get into the things I felt about the film and some of the things that weren't accurate, like historically accurate. Like I did not care. I was like, this is great. I love this movie. But it just made me think about the movies that I love, and like the last movie that I was just insane about and going, oh my God, I love this. It was the last Mad Max Fury Road. I that's the
Oh,
last movie I went to see in the theaters twice. It
oh
was
wow,
that,
okay.
yeah, that's the last time I went to the theaters twice, and I was like, this is what we're missing, and maybe we need some more people to go the independent route, because it was absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to discuss that and talk about it. And then I think actually last night, in celebration, well, not celebration, I guess in tribute to the passing of Tina Turner, one of my subs paid for What's Love Got to Do with It, and I cannot wait to talk about that.
Nice. Yeah, I have not seen Apocalypto, and to be honest, when I saw the trailers when it first came out, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit because I was right in peak Mel Gibson, like, all right, whatever. But I now after you're describing it, it's got to go on the got to go in the queue to
Yeah,
watch. And
yeah,
yeah, I loved Mad Max Fury
yeah,
Road as well, especially considering it's a movie where they literally just drive out and
yeah,
turn around and come back.
yeah.
This doesn't sound very interesting,
But
but it's
that
like,
that's
yeah, but they've got
that's the thing with Apocalypto. It's such a simplistic plot. Like it's very, and I know for most of the film, of course, well, all the film they're speaking Mayan and there's subtitles, but it's something you could understand without the subtitles. It's just, that simplistic, but it's just so incredible, and the visuals are just so amazing. You just get, I was like, look at the sets. I was like, there's no CGI anywhere. This is so great. They're really in the bush. They're in the jungle for real. Those are real trees. Is that a real waterfall? It's a real panther. I was just all fangirling out because you could tell the sets were built and there was no CGI. They didn't CGI in a few thousand people. There were actually 1,000 people there, but just those things that you miss that you really don't get in movies now.
So this wasn't Indiana Jones 4 with the
Oh
CGI
gosh.
jungle and the swinging through
No.
the green screen set. This was an actual forest, actual
Actual
jungle.
jungle.
Nice.
Actual
Okay.
jungle.
This is definitely going to go on the in the queue somewhere. And when can people look forward to this video coming out?
Next week, if it's let's see, it should be Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I'm always being raggedy with releasing stuff, but a lot of the times I'll be ready to release something and post it, and then I'll upload it, and then YouTube will go, oh, this little portion is copyrighted, this portion, and I'm like, oh, I gotta take it down and re-edit and re-upload it. So I try to give, some type of loom, but it should be up no later than Wednesday. So please come over and check that out because I'm
Sweet.
I'm I'm excited.
Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Look forward to Apocalypto on Struggle Reviews. Moving on to our fourth story, Captain America is
Mhm.
getting a name change. I mean, it's still a ways from coming out, but Collider is reporting that Captain America 4 is going from Captain America New World Order to
Mhm.
Captain America Brave New World. So we're getting the Aldous Huxley, all that kind of a title change. What are your thoughts on Captain America 4, and what do you think of this name change to a film that still hasn't been released yet, obviously?
I like the first name. Like, what's wrong with the? I was intrigued with the first. Was like brave new. Like, oh, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
I
apparently.
like the first one. It feels like brave, like New World Order. Like we're putting the smack down. It sounds serious. It sounds fun, but Captain America. I just hope it's good. I just Marvel makes me sick. I'm sorry. I I hope that we do it justice. It just seems like we are leaving our superheroes like our Thor or our Captain America. We are kind of beelining them to introduce new people into the metaverse and kind of push them into the forefront, and then it kind of turns into not being their movie anymore. That's kind of been the pattern for me, so I'm hoping that this is about Captain America and he's actually there and he's not, beeline for the a woman in the suit. I don't know, because they love to put the women in the suits.
What do you think of Anthony Mackie taking over the role of Captain America?
I like Anthony Mackie. I think I've reviewed a few movies with him, especially the old ones, of course. He doesn't he's not as commanding for me as like a leading man, but I do love to see him, but he just doesn't give me that lead. What I would prefer is that we don't get it's like, oh, it's Captain America light. Oh, it's 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 Black Panther light. I would really like for them to the universe, and like I am in no way a comics fan or any of that, but I know there are so many untapped markets as far as heroes and genres and books and comics that people would love to see that have not been pushed into the forefront a little bit. But instead of giving us something new, we're giving She-Hulk and things like that. And She-Hulk was not the She-Hulk in the comics, so I don't want to see that. But I would really love something new. I don't want a variation of the same character.
Yeah, it makes sense. I have not seen Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't have Disney Plus as of yet. It's one of those weird holes in my interest level where I have Netflix and I have HBO Max, but I don't have Disney Plus. And I
Mm.
really need to sign up for Disney Plus because there's all that Star Wars stuff and all
Yeah.
the Marvel stuff, but like there's been so much controversy over the Marvel streaming shows. But the one of those shows that seems to get universal praise is Loki and
Mhm.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I
Mm.
definitely need to sign up and watch Falcon and Winter Soldier because
I
it's
enjoyed the first season of Loki. The
nice.
first season.
Season 2, not so much.
It's the same thing that we're seeing in the films where they kind of get beeline for a different character. Most often it's female. What I call it on my channel, it's the He-Man Woman Haters Club. We have all the women, come in like hear me roar. Like I can do what you can do. I'm just as strong. So we kind of beeline our males to introduce female character. So
So
there's a little bit of that.
we turn all the men into Spanky and Darla takes over the world. That's what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Pretty much. Not even Spanky, they're alfalfa. Like,
Yeah.
oh god. Jeez.
And as far as the New World Order, I keep thinking when I hear New World Order, I think of the wrestling from like the '90s when Hulk Hogan left the WWF before it was when it was still the WWF, and they went over and it was all it was Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania's dead. Yeah. But apparently there was some political or cultural considerations there for renaming it into
Of course.
Brave New World.
Politically
So
correct.
yeah, and plus all the hardcore critics, all of the highfalutin, highbrow, like the people wearing the ascot when they review, and you ever notice like the really hardcore critics all have some quirky affectation, like there's an eye patch or something like. All that crowd, I think, always seems to love any kind of literary reference. Ooh, it's Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. That's a brilliant title. Like I'm just like,
I don't know. I just hear the mayor. You sound like Mayor from the Powerpuff Girls.
Did I there? Nice, I love it. So I skew more towards The Simpsons. So whenever I think of the mayor, I think of Mayor Quimby and a really bad JFK. Like, and over here we've got bad voices by a dragon movie guy. So moving on to our final story of the day. Also interesting, Harrison Ford is making his debut in Captain America 4 as well. Are you looking forward to that as well?
No.
No Harrison Ford?
I love Harrison Ford, but personally, I don't go past in the Indiana Jones franchise. I don't go past part two much often. I stopped. As far as I'm concerned, the franchise ended part two. I feel like it
Really?
was so great, and I love those. I really don't go past those really often.
You didn't like The Last Crusade that came out in 1989, the one with Sean Connery as his dad?
It was cool, but just my favorite, and if I had to go, I would definitely stop at Sean Connery. But I personally like my favorites are the first and the second one. But yes,
Interesting.
that one's great. But once we got into Shia LaBeouf territory and that whole thing, I was like, this is Oh god, this is terrible. I'm just hoping that they send him off properly because I'm assuming that this is gonna be his last entry in the film, of course, and I just want it to be respectable and we're not shoehorning or, making things out of thin air just to milk this franchise, and I hope it's a good movie.
Well, poor guy's 80 some odd years old, so
Yeah.
there's only so long you really want to see anyone carrying
Yeah.
a bullwhip and
I don't want the disbelief, like, "Oh, like, yeah, you have to, just have disbelief that a 80-year-old man could do that, like, he did that? Oh, that's amazing."
well, at a certain point, the fedora, just at a certain point in age, this is just anybody, at a certain point, putting on a fedora at 85 or whatever years old, it's more ironic than it is like, we've got Harrison Ford back. It's like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
pretty soon he's going to be doing the chases on the little scooter things.
Oh
I don't want to
gosh.
age shame Harrison Ford, but I love Harrison Ford.
I'll be watching it though. I'll definitely be watching it. I'm just looking. I look for, like I said, I look forward to more of the new things. Like I thought Renfield was awesome, like crazy awesomeness.
I was really looking forward to that film, but it felt, ironically, to quote a Harrison Ford line, it felt like it was made in committee uh, in that one. So, uh, our fifth and final story for today is Hollywood Reporter is reporting, very conveniently there, Hollywood Reporter reporting in Hollywood News that Jake Paul, YouTuber Jake Paul, who has 20 million subscribers, is going to make a feature film in which he's fighting in the film. There weren't a whole lot of details in the article. It could be anywhere from Street Fighter to Bloodsport to Rocky. I mean, at this
Mhm.
point, we don't know. Do you watch any of Jake Paul's videos? Like, I am aware of him, but I don't really watch his stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
not at all. I'm probably aware of him just word of mouth, and I know he kind of I'm aware of him really from boxing, the pranks in boxing, because the boxers were feeling smited. Like, how is he just thrust into this position? I've been training and doing this and that my whole life, but just because, which is going to be the same narrative with these movies, just because he's a certain person with however many followers and he has notoriety, he gets opportunities that people who have maybe been acting their whole lives, really building their craft, or somebody who's been boxing and practicing and sprawling forever, you get those opportunities just because of who you are and the name that you have. So I think it's the same thing with the films. Like, I really miss just purebred, like built up, cultivated actors. Like, really a whole. I'm never gonna smite anybody's opportunity. It's great that he got that opportunity, because if anybody calls struggles for a film, I'm definitely gonna be there.
well, and look, just magnitude of scale wise, your channel is to my channel as his channel is to your channel. It is that big. Like, your channel's way bigger than mine. His 20 million subscribers. That is
Crazy,
insane.
crazy.
So question is, if you get to 20 million subscribers or whatever, if you get the gold play button, you get past 1 million, and someone comes to you and says, Tyra, we want to pay you to be in a movie. You get to choose whatever the story is, whoever your leading man is, whatever the story is. What is the movie that you would make if someone said, we want to make Struggle Reviews TV the movie?
Oh man. Oh gosh, I don't know, like, cause 'cause I'm a goofy person. I'm like goofy, like I'm Return of the Living Dead goofy, like I would want some crazy stuff, but honestly, like my favorite genre is the horror genre. So I would definitely go for like a sci-fi, alien, Ripley, Terminator 2, like I'm trying to be bad. Like I'm trying to kill something, gun toting, I'm in charge, and like just check the shotgun with one arm. I could do like I can't do that, but I would like I need some stunts. I want some gunfire. I want old school writing, and I want James Cameron to direct, and I need a mixture. I want James Cameron to direct, and I want Spike Lee to write it.
So, that is a good combination. I like that one. So would it be more? Okay, so James Cameron, would it be more True Lies James Cameron or Terminator 2 James Cameron?
Oh, it would definitely be like a mix because I would still want that comedy, but that layer of action because True Lies is hilarious. So it would kind of be in the middle of that, but I still want the serious tone to know that we mean business and we're kicking ass.
And I love the idea of Spike Lee writing a James
Yes.
Cameron movie too. There's something about
Because
that
I'm a
that's
brown girl, so I would want a
yeah.
black writer.
Well, it's sort of like thinking about like the fact that Quentin Tarantino wrote True Romance. It's a
Yeah.
Tony Scott film, so the guy who directed Top Gun directed the film, but it's a
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino script, so
Yes.
it's a film that has
Different.
that weird kind of a hybrid. So yeah, I
Mhm.
just that thinking about that a Spike Lee written film directed by James Cameron. That would be freaking amazing. That'd be
Yeah.
great to see. I would watch that.
Yeah, me
I
too.
would pay to watch that movie. Um, but yeah, hopefully we all get our channels big enough to where it's like Oprah. You get a movie, and you
You
get a
get a
movie, and
movie.
you get just get to 20 million subscribers, and we're all going to get a movie. So,
Yeah, it's very easy. Just throw them in there.
uh, that's it for our headlines for this week. So, thank you for coming on and joining my tiny little channel. Thank you for coming on Dragon Movie Guy podcast. Any other things you'd like to, any other projects you'd like to talk about that you're coming up? I know you were talking about starting a podcast soon.
Oh no, oh gosh, no. I am starting my Patreon soon. I am trying to figure that out because I went the other way around. I never fathomed starting a Patreon and I already have my subs paying for content and I was like, "Oh, this is wild." But I really want to invest in that because I see that there's a little bit more freedom as far as the type of content you can do on a Patreon. And I love the idea of people paying for memberships. It feels like a personal connection via, YouTube. Sometimes I'll get people like, "You didn't reply back." I'm like, I've never seen you. I'm sorry. I've never, it's hard to, get it was cute at first, but by the time you get, over a couple of thousand, it's hard to keep track. So I really would love that personal relationship with some of my subs and be able to start that Patreon and really get into a one-on-one about what direction the channel is going because it's ever changing all the time.
Well, and there's a book out there called 1,000 True Fans. Even if you have 100,000 subscribers,
Yes.
if they're all kind of casual and no one really pays that close attention, then what is the value of having any presence? But all you need
Yes.
is 1,000 true fans,
That's it.
and you can make 100 grand a year through merch and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So
I tell people that all the time. Like I love the growth in the 20, almost getting to 20K. It's great, but let's say, for 20K, 1,000 of those, really support me, really there for every single video and really stand. Or, just like now, you could have 20K and like, why is my video 800 views? Where nobody showed up? Like, what are the rest, where are the rest of you? But that's really a good way of putting it. The main core of your audience is only going to be, those few couple of hundreds of people, for me at this point, who really support you.
and that's enough to support you and support a living too. So I tip my cap to you, and I hope to be there at some point myself. Please click subscribe. Please click subscribe. YouTube gods, please click subscribe. Enough of my begging. So with all that, please hit like, please hit subscribe on my channel. Please go over and hit subscribe and like on StruggleReviewzTV. Tyra, thank you for coming on my channel.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
This was fun. And I have no doubt that before you know it, you will be like, "Oh, it's, movie news you can use. And we're now at 30,000 subs." You just got to wait on it.
I hope so. Fingers crossed very soon. So thank you for coming on. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.